Hello and welcome. I'm Aisha and I am a transformational and money coach. With over 20 years of experience in accounting and finance, I hold an MBA as well as the EA designation. I am on a mission to help high achieving women shift from survival mode to strategic power, both financially as well as emotionally. Some of my gifts include forward thinking, where I see you become before you are. I combine soul work with practical strategies so you can heal your money story and trust your decisions and step into full alignment. I am also an empath, so that means I have a very sensitive nervous system and I can pick up on energies very quickly of others. And I tend to be a great listener, so I can feel you and I can hear what you're saying and I can hear what you're not saying. So all of those gifts coupled together, in addition to my experience with accounting and business with 20 years, I decided to combine the two and help the woman both emotionally as well as financially because I feel like the two are connected. So the agenda for today is your life is a balance sheet. We're going to talk about how. We're going to talk about what is actually a personal balance sheet, what are actual assets, and what are actual liabilities, both financially as well as emotionally, and also how to create a personal balance sheet. And then I'm going to close with any closing remarks that I have and takeaways. Okay, so let's get into it. So, your life is a business, believe it or not, and it's also a balance sheet, believe it or not. You just probably haven't looked at it in those terms. But your life has financial liabilities and assets as well as emotional strengths and weaknesses. And we have to look at the two in order to create a full, clear picture of what's going on your personal balance sheet. Once you understand and know both components, then it raises awareness and gives you a sense of peace and direction. In the world of accounting and business, we use the balance sheet to assess the business. So, with you knowing your personal balance sheet, you are able to know what's holding you back and you are able to unlock to the next level and progress with precision going forward. So, let's say, what's a balance sheet? Like I mentioned before, a balance sheet is assets minus liabilities equals net worth. In the business world, it's assets minus liabilities equals owner's equity. So it's slightly different, but the concepts are still the same. The personal balance sheet is a snapshot of your life, your whole life. We're talking about your assets and your strengths, which are things you own and hold value, and also your liabilities and your weakness. These are the things that you owe and any limitations that you have. And then your balance sheet isn't just about money. That's why I wanted to put in the emotional part because it's the whole you. We got to look at the whole you. And once you understand what your personal balance sheet is and where you stand in your personal balance sheet position, it gives you clarity. It removes all the guesswork and the vague feelings of feeling stuck. It gives you that peace of mind, and you don't have to have that mental clutter of confusion. And it's a map of progress, and it shows you exactly the areas you need to improve at any given time. And just like a business, when we look at the balance sheet, we need to look at the balance sheet in order for the business to survive. We have to know the position so we can better plan. So, just like that, in a personal balance sheet, you need to know exactly where you stand, what position you're in, because once you know that, it'll help you thrive and go to the next level that you're looking for. So now let's talk about what is truly a financial asset. Financial assets are your cash, like your checkings and savings accounts, accounts receivable. These are people who owe you, any education that you might have, any degrees, certifications, and trainings that you have under your belt, investments, stock portfolios, your retirement like 401ks, HSAs, and your personal networks, any associations that you join with, any intellectual property such as copyrights and patents, things of that nature, and relationship capital. These are the people who support you, your mentors, your guides, and connect anybody that you connect with that helps you along your way, that benefits you. You have your vehicles, the value of your vehicles, the real estate, any personal real estate that you have in your name, collectibles such as cars, coins, cards, art. These are all your financial assets. So let's flip to the other side of what's your emotional assets. So for emotional assets, these are things such as your being disciplined, having resilience, consistency, critical thinking, tenacity, and creativity, being able to solve your problems creatively. Now that's a great combination to have as emotional assets. So these are the kind of assets that you want to have on your balance sheet. So now that we're covered the emotional and the financial assets, we're going to switch to the liabilities. These are the things that you owe, things that are weaknesses. So just take a deep breath. I know sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but just bear with me. Financial liabilities are accounts payable, such as your rents, utilities, medical bills, taxes, things of that nature. You got credit card debt, student loans, personal loans, mortgages, car loans, home equity, and HELOC. Those are all your financial pieces, right? Things that you owe, long and short term. Now we're going to flip to the emotional liabilities. This is your fear, being a perfectionist. You're living in a belief, toxic ties. The toxic ties, like meaning relationships or environments that drain your energy, like those are toxic ties. And poor health habits, because we know our health is true wealth. So having poor health habits is a liability, believe it or not. Lack of boundaries, not being able to say no, people pleasing. These are things that tug at your assets and dwindle your assets away. So let's pause for a second. We're going to reframe these liabilities, because this part I've noticed with my clients, they get really uncomfortable. And I just want to help you reframe to know that liabilities are not shameful. It's simply just areas that need to be improved or managed. But you won't know until you become aware of them. So it's okay. We all have these liabilities that we're not proud of and that we need to work on and correct and improve. So that's why it's important for us to have a personal balance sheet and really assess the full picture of our assets and liabilities, because this tells the true story at any given moment of our life. True facts. So now we understand what assets are emotionally as well as financially. And now we understand what liabilities are emotionally as well as financially. So with those two components, now that we got an understanding of what the two mean and what they consist of, we're going to create a personal balance sheet. So first, we're going to list everything that you owe, everything that has value on the financial side. Then we're going to list the strengths, things that's going good for you right now, things that's beneficial to you right now. Like we mentioned the emotional assets on the previous slide. Those were just some examples, and that's just some. That's not a inclusive list. So depending on your life situation, you can have different types of assets. So I was just giving some examples of what emotional assets could look like for the majority of the people. So once you list those emotional assets as well as your financial assets, like make two columns. One column, emotional assets, one column, financial assets. And then you're going to list your liabilities, things that you owe, and then your weakness, things that are holding you back. So for the financial liabilities, you're going to list them right under the financial assets. So list them right under financial assets on that column. And then for the emotional liabilities, you're going to list them right below the emotional assets. So you're going to have two columns separating the two: emotional, financial, then assets, liabilities on one side for emotion, assets and liabilities on the other side for the financial piece. Now, this is the part that gets really challenging. When you assign weight of importance for your emotionally driven assets and liabilities, you got to know they're not all created equal. So this is something that you're really going to have to take some time and sit with, because this is just not going to come quickly. Like it's not going to come quickly. So you're going to have to sit with the emotional part a little bit to really hone in what your liabilities are and your assets are for your emotions. And then once you do that, you identify the position, your net worth, and determine whether it's a surplus or a deficit. So your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. And when you weigh in on the emotional piece, that's why I say you got to put a weight of importance for the emotional piece. So that part is going to get a little tricky, and it's going to take some time, but once you take the time to do it, you'll get through it and you'll be glad that you did it. So when you weigh in on what's important versus non-important for the emotional side, then you can see that you're balanced or you're out of, so you're meaning aligned or misaligned. Like we're going to have negative and the positives, like, in life. We're not going to just solely be perfect, So just having that understanding that we're going to have both. It's the law of duality. We have both light and dark. But I digress. So back to the financial part. The financial part, that one is more easier to calculate because we're looking at the numbers. You're going to take the value of your assets, the whole value, what it holds, and then you're going to subtract it with your liabilities, things that you owe, things that's going out of your pocket, out of your cash. So these are the things that you owe. So your assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. So that number, if it's positive, if it's a surplus, that's good. You're in a great position. But for the majority of people, that's a deficit. And I think that's where I want to spend a little time. So if you in a surplus, that is amazing. Keep it up. Continue to progress and grow and elevate. But I'm going to switch gears and just focus on if it's a deficit, because this is where my work comes in, and this is where I really shine at to really transform and help someone change their financial and emotional position in life. So assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. Now, if it is a deficit, like I mentioned before, how to come up out of this you're going to focus on one or two liabilities to reduce. For example, let's say pay off a credit card bill, and that's from the financial side. And then from the emotional side, say start creating boundaries with certain people that you know that are draining you, that you know are causing you to spend more money than you should. That's going to be challenging, but I know you can do it. I know you can do it. You can do it. And then you're going to choose one or two assets to grow. That's meaning saving more money. But if you pay a credit card bill off, then you have more money to put away because you don't have to have pay off that credit card bill. It's paid off. So now that money can go towards your savings. See how that works? Like it's like a ripple effect. So you pay off a credit card bill, right? You pay off a credit card debt. And then once you pay it off, that money that you was using to pay for that bill, now you can take that money going forward and put in your savings account since you no longer paying that monthly credit card bill. And that's just I'm just using these examples as simplicity. I know it can get complex. And then another thing, creating an asset to grow, like buying I don't know, a vending machine, or buying or renting your one of the rooms out in your house, or renting your car part-time to get some extra cash to grow, like to make more money, to put away, or to buy another asset. But the liabilities, that the emotional, the emotional part, that's gonna be tough. But I didn't mention an asset for emotional. So an asset for emotional, confidence is another one that I didn't put on the list for emotional assets. But confidence, you can grow your emotional asset with confidence. And confidence, you can do that by repetition. So say you are afraid to speak in front of people. The more you practice, the more you continue to have opportunities to speak in front of people, you build your confidence by repetition. It just doesn't like happen full out. It's by repetition, and you become more comfortable. And when you're comfortable, that equates to confidence. So you can grow an emotional asset that way. And then reviewing the balance sheet monthly or quarterly, just like a business review. So we review in business, in the accounting world, we review the balance sheet every month because we need to know every month where we stand, because that helps us properly plan. So I suggest that you continue to do it monthly until you're comfortable with your position in life. And then you can move to quarterly, like looking at it every 90 days. Because that gives 90 days gives you time to make a habit and turn it to a lifestyle with any of the one or two reducing your liabilities or one or two growing your assets. 90 days so you can see progression. So that would be a reason to do it every quarter, every 90 days. But I guess monthly, as you continue to add and subtract, like for monthly, do it monthly until you become comfortable. That's what I suggest. I mean, you could do it quarterly if that makes sense, but this is your life we're talking about, and taking it very seriously as your business. You have to. So when you look at this balance sheet quarterly or monthly, you get a real time progression of what's growing and what's shrinking. But here's the thing, like I mentioned before, it's not about just the financial piece. It's not about the money, your net worth. You know how people be saying like celebrities and, people when their net worth, it's like that's fine and dandy with the net worth for the financial part, but let's look at the emotional side as well, because you tie the two together to have a really full and whole aligned life, which I value. I value money, but I also value my alignment, my peace. So that's important for me. And another thing is, once you review this balance sheet monthly or quarterly, like I mentioned in business, we use this as strategy so we can know what position so we can properly plan. This also, looking at your personal balance sheet, you are able to properly plan, and you are able to assess and know where to invest your money, time, and your energy. So I think that it is critical for every woman to have a personal balance sheet and really do an inventory of all her true emotional and financial assets and liabilities to get that full picture and know where she stands, because it's truly important. In order to know where you're going, you got to know where you're at first. You got to know where you're at first, ladies. So, in closing, I know if it's a deficit and feeling overwhelming, it's like, whew, Aisha, this was a lot of information. I understand. Believe me, I truly understand. But like one of my accounting professors told me years ago when I was in undergrad, how you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So just take it one step at a time, piece by piece. But just get her done. Just get her done. You don't need like any hyping up or motivational quote. You just need a clear picture. And once you clear on what your personal balance sheet is, you are able to move with confidence and with peace. So, the takeaway, I challenge you, before the weekend ends, create your personal balance sheet and you'll discover where you stand. And it's absolutely empowering. I promise you. Once you see, it's absolutely empowering because you aware. You know which way to go now. Well, you may not fully know which way to go, but you're creating clarity for your life, financially as well as emotionally. Because if we're not aware, we can't change or improve or manage anything, right? Right. So just know clarity, it's not magic, it's pure awareness. Know where you are in order to know where you're going. Thank you for watching my video. And if you liked this video, I ask that you like, subscribe, and share this with another lady that you feel that may need this right now. And also, if you need any clarity or help with creating a balance sheet, please contact me. And also, if you want a template to start working on it before the weekend ends now, before the weekend ends, then comment the word balance in the comments and I'll send you a balance sheet template. For now, you stay focused, you stay positive, and you got this. Bye.